Since the beginning of time, since men could look up at the stars and wonder what is out there, since they could wonder how to get there, they created ways and technologies to overcome the obstacles to get there. And some of these obstacles, listed out by Carl Tate of Space.com, are the types of travel. There's the chemical rocket, which burns fuel using chemicals, but it burns too much fuel, so it's not very effective. And then there's the nuclear rocket, which will explode many atomic bombs behind the spaceship, propelling the spacecraft forward. There's the ion drive, which will use electrically charged particles to propel the spacecraft forward. And a plasma drive, which is essentially the same as an ion drive, but uses plasma as a fuel, but is an extremely slow method of acceleration. Big problem is there's fuel. It takes a tremendous amount of fuel to travel at speeds we need to get to the next place. So to overcome that, we have the light sail, which is a huge sail that's about the size of Texas that uses light to propel the spacecraft forward. Problem being, it's the size of Texas, and as you get further away, the sun begins to fade and you have less energy to propel it forward. Then there's also the slow boat method, which is seed ships or sleeper ships. Seed ships being ships that carry embryos or single-cell organisms to the planet's surface, which over 1,000 years, once it reaches destination, would drop the embryo or the single-cell organism off there to cultivate and grow and start a new population that way. Mm. Then there's sleeper ships, which would put humans in a cryogenic sleep. So after thousands of years of reaching their destination, they would wake up and continue with very little aging. Problem being, we do not have the technology to create cryogenic sleep that would keep people alive for thousands of years. We don't have anywhere near close to that. And seed ships, we don't have any way of actually planting it on the surface and having them actually grow. According to NASA, another huge problem is time. As we all know, humans die. So the closest galaxy is 4.3 million light years away. So that's 4.3 million light years. That's thousands and thousands of years in human science, which we won't survive a journey that way. So one of the ways to combat that is time dilation or faster than light travel. Time dilation uses the theory of special relativity from Einstein, which states that nothing can go faster than speed of light, but the closer you get to the speed of light, the more time slows down. So if you can propel yourself half the speed of light, it's only going to take 20 years relative to you, whereas 100 years could pass back on Earth. And then there's the faster than light travel, which is using a negative energy to create a bubble around the spaceship, which will compress time in front of you and expand it around you and behind you, which is essentially taking a cliff and having the space in between move closer, and you stepping off onto the cliff and then expanding back out, which is a shortcut through time, which is why it's called faster than light. It's a loophole through the theory, because you don't have to actually travel faster than light, you're just taking a shortcut through. That was proposed by Miguel Alcubierre. He's a theoretical physicist. And then there's the wormhole method, which would use negative energy to open a hole in space-time, which would allow you, if we could do this, to pass right through and come out the other side faster than the speed of light could travel. And the biggest problem with all of this is that the energy requirements are huge. If we could harvest all the energy on Earth, we still would not have nowhere near amount needed to use any of this technology. We would take multiple suns to get anywhere close to the energy requirements needed by any of the proposed travel methods. And the other huge cost is, for humans, is the financial cost. It was proposed that it would take $174 trillion just to create a fusion drive that would go 0.12 the speed of 12% the speed of light, and that would still take 50 years to get to the closest star. With all this being said, though, it's still important to have interstellar travel, because this interstellar travel allows us to imagine things. And when we imagine things, we create technologies to get us to where we want to go. And this technology allows us to come much closer to our next stage in evolution, our next stage in knowledge and understanding how the universe works. So I'll end with a quote by Einstein. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there will ever be to know and understand. Thank you. you all very much for listening to my speech.